Welcome to the Red Raider Coaches Show. I'm your host, Joe Hayes, and I'm here with our head football coach, Keith Goss. Coach, a little bit of rain coming today.
A little bit of rain.
Got us all kind of stirred up. And
yeah, it's making it tough to paint the lines on the field, but we'll get it all down.
I hear you. So, speaking of that, I guess typically for those that don't know, when you have a wet field and can't get the paint down, sometimes I know I've seen you guys do it at nighttime, but you have to wait till game day sometimes and get out there in last minute.
Right. Sometimes it's just what it has to be done, and Coach Coley does a great job of handling and really taking the bull by the horns when it comes to painting. So the rest of us just kind of help out where needed.
I got you. Well, Coach, we coming off another difficult loss this past Friday. First big overtime game I remember in a long time in Bacon County history. I could be completely wrong with that, but just the other night I was trying to think back when the last game, and just off the top of my head, I couldn't even remember.
Well, the thing about that game is, that's the first game my guys have been in that's that nature, a really tight game. The games we've lost by 1 or 2 scores. The games we've won, we've won by a larger margin. So that was the first game where it's an overtime, down to 1 score at the end, and you have an opportunity to win it, and that's a learning situation for us. You can simulate so many things in practice, and we do. We have a practice on Tuesday where we work all sorts of different situations. But until you're in that situation and you learn from it and grow from it, nothing's going to prepare you like being there.
That's right. That's right.
So that was the first time we've played a game of that nature, and our guys competed hard. We're still growing every week and learning. Everybody, including myself, wishes we could have found a way to come away with it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I know nobody walked away from that game just mad as all get out. We were upset, and it hurts to lose an emotional game like that. But right after it happened, the first thing I thought of is this team last year beat us by 38 points. And
yeah, last year it was, I think we lost 38-0. I don't think we even scored on them.
Yeah.
So to rack up 400 yards of offense in the course of the year, there's a ton of positives that you can pick out of the game. With that being said, I don't care what it is. I want to win.
Oh, I know. We all do.
And
I know the players do.
And the players do. They were obviously upset, at the conclusion of the game. And, it's starting to mean more to them.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't, always the case last year. But it is now. The more you put into something, the harder it is to get beat at it. And the more it means to you, and the harder you play. So as we continue to grow as a program, we're going to find a way to start winning the competitive games and continue that climb. They're a great team. I think they're ranked 7th in the state in AA. And, I feel like we played a good game. We didn't protect the football, which is something we have to do to be successful. There was a couple, we gave away a couple turnovers, and in my mind, that's the difference. You look at the games we won this season, we didn't turn over the ball. You look at the games we've lost, we've had at least 1 turnover. We protect the football in most games, and we win.
Coach, talking about that, I know a lot of times after a game there's a lot of takeaways, and and a lot of people have different opinions into what they think may be the cause or aided to the cause of losing the game, and there was a few questionable calls by referees. It's 2 weeks in a row that we've had very questionable calls. As a coaching staff, how do you guys deal with that? How do you
acknowledge? First of all, nobody's perfect. Any given person can make a mistake on a call. Do I feel like some mistakes were made? From my viewpoint, well, yes, but they're made, and we don't control that. We have to focus on the things we can control. I can't control whatever holding call that referee, saw on the goal line after Mason scored and we were celebrating in the end zone. that would have put us up 28-14 in regulation. I can't control that. I looked for it on film. I didn't see it. That is what it is. Yeah. I mean, we don't have the instant replay. We don't have any other way to challenge it. I can talk to the Referees Association afterwards. I send in film. I often do, but I'm not ugly about it. I just hope to get better refereeing.
Right. Or educate them even more by where they see the mistakes that they make.
Right. And just like we watch our film and we find out how to get better as a player and as a coach, they have to do the same thing. And most, associations do. I know the association that we use here does that, and that's the way they look at it. They want to have, great refereeing crews. They ask for film if there's something questionable, and we send it to them.
Right.
And, that's really the only way things are going to get better. I mean, it's not going to get better by just screaming at them when they make a mistake. I know very few things in life that get better from you just screaming at it when there's a problem.
I've heard you say it with you and I having our sit-down private conversations and talking, but, so Raider Nation knows too, as a head coach, when you have something like that and there's an emotional call, what do you do to keep your players and your coaching staff? I know you just said we can't change the outcome, so we pled our case. They didn't overturn it. We have to go with it. So
I teach my guys just to continue to play. When we work in the situational practices, I purposely give our guys bad calls, so that if there's a call that they think's bad, they got to learn to essentially shut their mouth and continue to play.
Yeah.
Because arguing with the referee isn't going to change his mind. It's not going to change the situation. It's not going to make anything better. In fact, it may just give us another bad call.
That's right.
So, because they're emotional, referees are people, and whether they mean to do it or not, that very well could be the outcome. So, we work on that. We work on that with our players, to just keep their mouth shut and play the next play. And I think they did, for the most part. And I'm proud of that, because that wasn't our MO. That's not the way we went about business when I first got here.
Right. And
so I am proud about the growth and the development of our guys in that part of the game, because that's actually their head referee came over and spoke to me and talked about how respectful my players were. And I just told him thank you, and then we're going to send them off the field.
Yeah. And
that's the only way to make things better and have a better reputation, because the referees talk like anybody else does. And so they're like, well, this team, they act crazy, they do this, they do that. Well, no, that Referees Association went back and said something good about Bacon County. Now, do I wish the calls went different? Sure. But once again, we don't control that. Our response to it and how we go out and play the next play and the play after that and the play after that will determine if we can overcome whatever adversity is in front of us. And that's not just a football skill, that's a life skill.
And that's in all levels of football. At the college level, you see it happen. In a professional level, in the NFL, you see it happen. And a lot of coaches have the same response you did. And ultimately, we've got, we control our own destiny.
Right.
And you got to put yourself in a position where 1 or 2 or 3 bad calls doesn't
end the game for you, doesn't take you out of the game. And why I feel like we can compete with everybody that we play. I do.
Yes.
I think we have to be smart when we make a mistake, find a way to overcome it, and have that type of mentality. And we've gotten significantly better, and we're going to continue to work on improving that.
And I've heard you say that before too. Like, okay, we lost this down, but let's go win the next one.
Right.
And get ahead.
And that's the way you have to look at it. And we're going to continue to build that in our young men.
Yeah. Well, Coach, it was definitely an exciting atmosphere. The stadium was unbelievable. The turf, it looked like there at the start of the game we had a few slipping problems with players getting footing and stuff, but as the game progressed, I think our players improved on their cuts, on what they felt like they could make and couldn't make without slipping around.
Playing on turf, for the first time, it's different for kids, and but I think our guys adjusted well. I don't feel like it was a major issue for our guys. So we're just gonna
keep on.
Keep
That's
on,
right.
Keep on playing.
Coach, let's talk about offense in the game versus Toombs County. Again, you mentioned a little over 400 yards. Want to definitely give two big shout outs here that we've finally put it to press, that Mason Michael, the Bacon County Wall of Fame, put up a post where they went back and researched, and Gary Graham was the previous record holder for the most touchdowns passes in a season.
Correct.
It was 15 was the record, and that was from 1962. So it was a 58-year-old record.
That's a pretty good run for Gary's record.
It is.
So I know he was probably happy to have it for that long, and he's probably happy to see it get broken.
Yeah. So he passed the torch on to Mason. We want to congratulate Mason Michael for breaking a new school record with 16 passing touchdowns and still going. So we've still got games to go. So he's, we hope that he'll extend on that record, and he'll set the bar high for the players to come. And we also want to give credit to Terry Moore. He had broke the record a little while back, but some of this research, it takes time. It does.
But yeah, he did break the record. I believe the previous record was 9.
That's right.
And currently he sits at 12.
That's correct.
So, and that's 12 receiving. He has another one rushing as well.
But 12 receiving touchdowns is pretty big for any level, any school.
He's put up great numbers.
Yeah.
Both of them really have. I think in 2A, Mason is the number 2 in passing yards in 2A, and I think Terrion is number 2 in receiving yards. So, they're in the league company.
Right. So, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the effort that they put forward. You got 2 players that, here you have Mason coming off an injury, did a lot of hard work in the offseason to be able to get back and play this season, and he has progressed every single game more and more. He's got more comfortable in the pocket, making good reads, good calls. I love watching him on the field. Terrion, the same thing. Last year he was out of position. He played quarterback for us, made a sacrifice for the team.
Right. Very unselfish.
And I'm glad to see him see rewards this year and to be able to get that exposure. And again, congratulations to both those guys, to Mason and Terrion. I mean, huge accomplishments. And Lagondrick Snell, I want to give him the shout out too. He was the previous record holder that Terrion broke with the 9 receiving touchdowns. And there was some other good names really close right in there with Nassio Washington, big man, and J.P. Peterson. He was also another receiver that was right there in the mix. But Lagondrick Snell had the one more touchdown ahead of those guys.
Right.
And anyway, I'm just excited that this history now and these records can be noted, and that the players coming up in the future Red Raiders have something to look at and goals to set. So if I'm a wide receiver, I got Terrion's record right here on my locker, and this is my goal. And and it gives good goals to set. We know we got to work hard to reach those goals, and was just excited to see it all kind of come forth that night in such a big game against a big opponent.
Right.
Again, 7th ranked Toombs County in the state in double overtime. I don't know what else I could ask for, Coach. I mean, I do. We could have come away with a win, but we did have some good takeaways from the game.
No, there is. There's positives, and it's where we're at currently. It's not where we want to be when we're done. But we're playing a lot better football than we had in the previous year, and we're an emerging program. And as long as we continue to build on our positives and reduce our negatives, we should be competitive and have a chance to win any game.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Well, Coach, let's take a real quick break and get our sponsors a little recognition. And Raider Nation will be right back with you right after this break. Welcome back to the Red Raider Coaches Show. Coach Goss, so we got another big game. Thankfully, we're back at home this week.
Yeah, we're finally back at home, and it's been a long stretch, and that's just the way the schedule worked out. But you know, we are happy to be back home and here for homecoming.
Yes, sir. Well, speaking of homecoming, I know that's going to change up, and I know for a lot of coaches that's a nightmare sometimes as far as keeping the players. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the week.
There's a lot going on in the week, and it's our job to keep the players focused and really focus on what's important now, which is our part is to win the game.
Yep. To my understanding, I guess they're going to do homecoming before the game.
They are.
So it's going to start at 7 o'clock on the dot. So Raider Nation, definitely, if you're coming to see the homecoming court come on the field and see who wins homecoming king and queen, you want to get here about 6:30. I wouldn't wait for the 6:55 trying to get in the gate and get to the stands and all that. So you want to get here at 6:30. There'll be some good music playing, I'm sure, over the intercom system, and you can watch the players warm up in the meantime and get situated and get seated. But Coach, looking at film this week, the game we got coming up tomorrow, what have we had to do to prepare for Swainsboro, and what can we expect out of Swainsboro?
Oh, well, offensively, Swainsboro's spread. They got those two receivers, and one play with receiver, tight end, depending on the formation, that are both going to NC State. They're the twin brothers, and they're both, they're both athletic and long. They're both about 6'4", about 220.
Yep.
They're good football players. They're going to try to get them the ball in space. They have a new quarterback, so that's a little different. They got a big, strong running back, but they're going to try to spread the ball around and try to work it in space.
Well, from what I watched on film, even with the two big receivers, I would say they're definitely more run-heavy than they are pass.
They are. Their young quarterback doesn't quite throw it as well.
Yep.
But I will say that they want to spread you out and run that big guy.
Yeah, and they hand him the ball a lot. From what I watched on film. So the fullback, you can expect him to get probably the most touches throughout the night.
There's no doubt he'll touch the ball the most.
Yeah, he's definitely a workhorse. And speaking of both the big guys, the receivers, watching them most of their passes are just quick outs and then let them make a play after. Right. I didn't see too many way downfields, big plays. You don't see too much out of that, from them. You might catch a quick slant, but most of it is just a quick out, shooting it out to the receiver and let him try to make a play one-on-one.
And if they get down the goal line, here comes the fade.
Yeah. And
those guys are big on using their hands and pushing off, but they're getting away with it. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm sure you guys got a good plan in place to try to match up against them to put stops in there. How were the players this week at practice, Coach? I know it was coming off of a very emotional loss, but also homecoming week and the craziness of that.
I think our guys, they know what's in front of them. Obviously the first two region games haven't gone the way we've wanted them to, but we're very capable of winning region games and getting into the playoffs. You can't go back and change the past. All you can do is learn from it. So I think that's the mindset they have. That's what we constantly, teach to them and preach to them, that, we can't change that now.
Yeah.
You can't change a double overtime loss. It was a great game. We just didn't come out on the right side of it. And now we have to move forward and prepare for our next opponent. And I feel like most of us have done a good job of that. That we have, turned our focus to Swainsboro and started working on how we're going to beat them.
Yep. On the defensive side of ball, Coach, I see the two big guys that play receiver. They put them over on the defensive side of the ball, and their defensive line looks pretty stout. But outside of that, I didn't see a ton of speed defensively.
Well, they're going to be able to run.
Yeah,
they're going to be able to run as a team. Their D-line definitely is the highlight. I feel like the highlight of their defense.
Definitely.
And we have to be able to hold up against them. And if we do, we'll have another successful night offensively. And if we don't, could be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talented.
So they are, and they're just one of those teams that could, it depends on how they show up, that they can be really, really great, or they usually just perform, mediocre. And from looking at film, it's been kind of that way if they went into a place with certain expectations, but a lot of teams are that way. It's high school boys, and things happen during the week, or emotions get up to here and then crash, or whatever plays into it. I know it's difficult for you guys to keep players on an even kilter to go in a high profile game, a region game like a Jeff Davis or a Toombs. All right, guys, we want to be right here. Here's where we perform the best.
And that's something each team has to learn, and it may not be the same from year to year.
Yeah.
According to how your leadership handles all the energy, and how they handle the social media and people talking in the community and this and that. And so for us, the more I isolate our guys and just focus on what we teach them, the better they seem to perform.
Yeah.
The more we dial in on this is our job. The rest of that's just that's for the fans. That's for other people out there to listen to, talk about. That's for everybody else. Well, the only thing we need to worry about is this right here, what we put in front of us this week. And the more we're dialed in on that, the better team we are.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the product that you have brought before Raider Nation and myself week in and week out, especially again after that game last week, and going from a team that beat us by 38 points last year and to take them into double overtime. We're breaking school records. The kids are still trying hard. They're fighting. I know they're emotional. They're working hard. You guys are going to keep pushing them, striving for more perfection, more excellence, and that's what we want to see out of Bacon County football. And it's going to be another exciting night against Waynesboro.
Yeah, there's not going to be any blowouts in the region, any blowouts for us in the region play. I think every Friday night it's gonna be a dogfight, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And if we're fortunate enough to get up on somebody, great. But there's a lot of really good football in this region, and we're gonna continue to make it better because we're gonna get better.
Absolutely.
And so we got another opportunity to go out and prove that we're a much improved team Friday night, and we're going to get after it.
Good deal, Coach. Well, it's going to be an exciting night for sure. And Raider Nation, just like Coach said, week in and week out, it's going to be a dogfight. And the biggest impact we can make as a fan base is showing up. Like the crowd that we had at Toombs County, the crowd that we had at Jeff Davis. Raider Nation is loyal, but when we show up and we get behind our players, it's that little bit of edge. And we're here at home, so there's really no excuses.
That's right.
To not come. Come on out. If you need to wear a mask, bring your mask. Keep it with you. Put it on if you feel like you're in close quarters or in that situation, or if you feel comfortable and want to leave it off, you can do that as well. So it's not required that you have to wear your mask in the stands, but we advise you to do so. It's going to be a good atmosphere. The band's going to be there. Cheerleaders are going to be there. Homecoming court. It's a big night, so we're expecting a big turnout, and we hope that can be that little bit of edge that we give our players, Coach, and that little bit of boost. And we want to cheer you guys on. And again, we appreciate what you're doing and what's going on with Red Raider football.
Well, thank you. All I know to do is we're going to continue to work. Me and my staff are going to continue to work to try to improve it, and the players are going to work. And we're trying to build something special here.
Good, Coach.
I appreciate the patience. I know it ain't happening overnight, but it is happening.
Yeah. Well, Coach, this week we'll finish up with this. We've got 10 Mile Baptist Church. I appreciate T-Boy Carter and all he does, not just for feeding our players this week, but he helps us to organize feeding the players each and every week to get the churches lined up and all that. So
that's just one more thing that I don't have to do.
That's right.
Is always appreciated.
Very much so. So T-Boy Carter, we appreciate all that you do for Red Raider football. 10 Mile Baptist Church, we thank y'all for our pregame meal this week. And Coach, we last week, it just slipped my mind. We had, was it Stefan? First African Baptist Church
Yes.
was last week that fed our Raiders, and we appreciate them very, very much. And again, we've got breakfast in the morning. Want to thank Phil Carver Drug Company for feeding our players breakfast last week. And then this week we've actually got, and I have went through this Raider Nation and let it slip my mind. I'm trying to think. I tell you what, I will post it on our Facebook page. That'll be the quickest way and get me out of trouble here. I don't want to let somebody make it incorrect. So I'll be sure to post that and get them some recognition. And again, we want to thank everybody for the Feed the Raider program. What's going on, Coach? We want to continue to try to do that.
Absolutely. These guys, they eat a lot of food, and it's great that we can continue to put things in them that they need. We do, we try to do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and chocolate milk and Ensure or some type of nutritional substitute. And then we also, we try to put snacks out there and just keep them eating, because the calories that they burn during the course of a given day, it's a much higher number than the nutrition or the calories they're taking in through their school lunches and school breakfast. So it's just really a math equation. We just gotta put more in them.
Yep. Well, if you want to bring Debbie's snacks or anything like that, you can go to Jay's IGA. They have a donation box up front in front of the registers. I know we need jelly. If you want to go in and buy a jar of jelly, you can take it there. If you've already got jelly, it's unopened, or you've purchased it somewhere else from Sam's or out of town, you can go by State Farm and drop it off there with John Hughes. The same with the Little Debbie snacks. Those help out as well. And if you would like to make a contribution, these contributions go to help provide these meals, to do breakfast, to do lunches. If a church is unable to cover it, we have to cover it, and then also to do the post game. And we've been doing a little bit of something on Thursday as well. Been doing a Thursday morning breakfast. We thank Miss Erin Andrews and her team they have put that on for quite some time, and doing Thursday morning breakfast. And now that you're going to Thursday afternoon practice, we may have a Thursday afternoon meal. So she's going to work on that for you next week.
All right.
Her and Miss Linda Michael and the other ladies that help her. So we appreciate them and all that they do. And James Miles Auto Sales is who's sponsoring this week. So I want to get James. We appreciate James and all that he does. Former Red Raider, always loyal, exciting. Every time I go by there, we absolutely cannot not talk about Bacon County football. So I enjoy it every time I go by to see him. Son just bought a truck from him this year. Glad we were able to give him some support there. So make sure you support these local businesses. Help them out as much as you can. And we love you, Raider Nation. We appreciate you. We hope to see you Friday night against this big game, region opponent against Waynesboro. So let's show up and show out, and Coach, go Big Red.
Words up.